All right. Welcome in, guys, to episode 14 of the Wildcard Lads. I'm Ryan,
I'm Peter.
And I'm Markello.
and all three of us are here today, so you were lucky. It's a special occasion.
Special
Getting
occasion
a
when the
fantasy
G-men are winning.
playoff, and week 14. We're getting closer to the real playoffs, too. So,
And the draft. Don't forget about the draft.
oh, yeah.
Some of us don't have, the privilege of looking forward to the playoffs.
Some of us are winning
People who are looking
until,
forward to it
4
is
seconds
Ryan.
left. So some of us were happy last week.
Oh, man.
We obviously want to just do a quick recap of the Thursday night game.
What a brutal game to watch. Cam Newton sucks.
That game was terrible.
Yeah, the Patriots suck.
Yeah, they're officially that was like the last. They were already 2 games behind, and now after they played, they're 3 games behind. So the Patriots are basically eliminated from the playoffs.
I hate to say it, and I will never rag on my man, but Cam Newton looked bad too.
He's been looking bad, dude.
Yeah.
He was lying to everybody the first few weeks. That game against Seattle at the beginning of the season, it was bluffing.
I will say, in his defense, that is the worst receiving core in the NFL. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah, by far.
That's the worst offense in the NFL, like, just passing-wise. That's, like, Bird, like, Harry. Did you guys see the chart of the wide receivers the Patriots have drafted in, like, the last 10 years?
Yeah, I know. It's brutal.
All of them are out of the NFL. The only one that's left is Braxton Berrios from the Jets, who's a punt returner. He can't even start on the Jets either. And N'Keal Harry, who will be gone in, like, 2 years.
Not even.
So, just complete miss. Yeah,
Well,
complete
N'Keal
miss.
Harry, but Harry does make some flashy, like 50-50 ball plays.
Yeah, it just takes him, like, 70 years to get open. So,
He's a good red zone option, but I wouldn't have him anything past
in the
that.
first round, that's such a waste. Like when you had Metcalf, Debo Samuel.
Going into the season, we knew it was the same weapons that Brady was dealing with. Nobody could get open. Like we got all that. Julian Edelman obviously has been hurt and sick too. On top of it, they're just not playing him. But the one thing we didn't expect, even though there was a lot of rookies on the defensive side of the ball going into the year for the Patriots, we never expected a Bill Belichick defense to get run all over. And that's what's been happening the past few weeks, let alone, Cam Akers.
Cam Akers had his fucking way yesterday. That was horrible, dude. I think at one point I saw his stat line. It was in the beginning of the game, too. He was up to, 7 rushes, 81 yards. I was like, yo, what? I was like, this guy's averaging.
Yeah,
that's awesome for the Rams. The Rams are happy.
No, that's amazing because I feel like they haven't had, a secure rusher there since Todd Gurley. And even Todd Gurley is last year or two there.
I don't have this as a statistic, but I want to know the last time Bill Belichick gave up 186 rushing yards.
I believe it was the Kareem Hunt debut game.
Yeah, right?
With Alex Smith.
He had
200 yards total.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But, I mean, it's part of what the Patriots are dealing with everyone who opted out. They lost, Kyle Van Noy. They lost a bunch of speed at linebacker. So
I just think the Patriots won a little bit too many games for them to go into a full rebuild type mode.
I think they're going to have to. I mean, they don't have a quarterback in the future. They have no wide receivers.
They'd have to trade up in the draft because I think all of the 4 best QB prospects are going in the top 10.
I agree with you. I honestly fire Josh McDaniels too. I think he's a terrible offense coordinator. I think his time is done.
Colts fans were about to get him as a head coach a few years back. Thank God they ended up with Frank Reich.
Cleveland got Stefanski this year. That's who they were supposed to get. So two franchises who really benefited from not getting Josh McDaniels, because they'd be in the bottom of the NFL right now again. So.
But what do you think the Patriots' mindset was when they signed Cam? Do you think they were trying to win the division at that point?
No, I think it was a move. I think it was a move to see. All right, maybe this guy can push us to the division. And then, like Ryan said, at this point, it just became a placeholder filler type role. You're just going to play.
You knew going into it. I think before we even recorded the first episode of the podcast, we would just talk about whatever the games and the divisions, who would win what division, what we thought. And I knew that the Patriots were good enough to win whatever 6-7 games, but they weren't bad enough to lose, most of them. So I don't understand what the point is.
I think me and Ryan actually had the Patriots finishing third in that division.
Only because I trust Belichick has won 10 games every year since 2002. This is the first year that it hasn't happened.
Yeah, but I recall me and you
aim for 7 wins.
Wouldn't be surprised if they were full back to third in the division behind Miami, and then with the Bills being on top.
But why aim for 7 wins?
I don't think he was aiming. He was just kind of
I think it just happened. You know what I mean? You can't aim. At the end of the day,
they lost some
players
games.
Are always going to play to win.
They lost to Denver somehow. You know what I'm saying? And then they beat teams like the Raiders
The only thing that makes sense to me is that instead of going into a full-on like rebuild and losing as many games as the Jets or the Jaguars have, that they said that it was going to be like a retooling kind of thing where like kind of what Miami did. Miami didn't go into full tank. They were always flirting with 6-7 wins, right? But they still were able to get their guy
for a few years though.
No, yeah, 100%. That's back when Tannehill and Gase were still thriving there, but.
No, I understand, but that was
this
long
upcoming year was more of a retooling.
No, this year was whatever they did in the offseason this year was amazing, and it shows. You know what I mean? They're second in the division right now. But
that's what I love about the NFL though. Like Brian Flores took over supposedly the worst team in the NFL history going into last year. Obviously didn't pan out that way. And just from that and an offseason where they signed like a bunch of like good players.
Not great.
Nothing especially flashy. And they go from a 5-6 win team to they're looking like they're going to be a playoff team this year. And like a legit playoff team, not like they just scrape by.
I mean, if you look at the playoff teams right now, before the extensions, happened, most of their like key players are on like fantastic, like small contracts, like rookie contracts, like quarterbacks, for instance. Pat Mahomes, before he got this huge extension, was on his rookie contract and just tearing it up. Josh Allen, it's like crazy. I don't know. So for the Patriots, I think it's more of they need to kind of do a little bit of what the Jets do for a year, secure a good pick, and then go from there.
Under Belichick, that's impossible.
I don't think any team should model their plan after the Jets.
Yeah, I was telling Markel Peter basically before we started recording, like the difference between like a 0 and 1 win team to like a 6 or 7 win team is not much at all. There's not much difference in the NFL outside of coaching and turnovers and bad quarterback play. The Jets and Raiders are the prime example. The Raiders are not much of a better team than the Jets, really. We played each other the last 2 years, and the Jets should have won both games. Luckily, we didn't this year. Thank you, Raiders.
Thank God for cover 0, man. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God for Greg Williams.
Greg Williams gone the next day. So now everybody was saying that was for the tank, but I've been seeing videos on Twitter.
Greg Williams was not tanking. Greg Williams is never part of the future next year. There's no way he just sacrificed.
That's genuinely what he would have called. He could have been defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, and in that exact situation,
he runs cover 0 all the time. And to be honest, this as someone who watched all that game, Derek Carr missed almost everything deep that game. Everything.
Oh my God! How many times did he overthrow somebody in the end zone?
He missed Nelson Aguilar 100 times.
That's still a horrible play call, dude. I wouldn't even give up the chance if I'm up in that situation.
As a Jets fan, I love the play call because we needed to lose that game. So
there's no way John Gruden goes into film room this week and watches play back why were the Jets so close to us and sees Derek Carr overthrowing.
Why Gruden's up 10 points, right? It's only 10 points going into the fourth quarter. The Jets can only do one thing on defense, stop the run. Why are you giving the ball to Devin Booker 100 times? They went 3 and out like 3 times in a row.
It's just a kill clock kind of thing. They don't really care.
No. The
Raiders I just don't think he trusted Derek Carr.
Their defense is terrible.
Yeah, I don't think he trusted Derek Carr. He was missing way too many throws, whether it was like outside the numbers kind of throws or, just down deep.
Disregard that, though. It doesn't matter. Either way, you don't call
that's what John Gruden wants his offense to be.
A guy like Henry Ruggs on the other side of the ball that's going to burn you.
Listen, we're not going to complain, all right? We're not going to complain. The Jets lost. It was a little bit too close, way too close, a little nerve-wracking, but hopefully that's as close as we come to a win this year. You want to just hop into the 1 p.m. games?
Yep.
So
Titans and Jaguars.
Right now. You going Titans Jaguars?
Yeah.
I mean, is that even –
yeah, so I was saying this in the chat last night. I think the Jaguars have played well the last month. They've all their games are really close. They really should have beaten the Vikings. Game went to overtime. The Packers game was going to be close.
All I know is
the Jaguars are going to win one more game this year. I don't know if it's going to be this week or the Bears next week. The Jaguars are going to win the second game this year.
I think we have to trust Ryan giving the benefit of the doubt. He's been calling the upsets this year like crazy. He called the Miami and Cardinals upset before Miami went on the undefeated streak. He got Washington last week against the undefeated Steelers. I thought Pittsburgh would lose this week.
I don't think it's going to be this week only because the Titans are coming off like a bad beating against Cleveland, so they'll be like,
they're going to bounce back.
Yeah,
no way, Derrick Henry's not going to bounce back.
I think Derrick Henry's going to run for like 200 yards. And
this Titans, that's what could happen. That's very well what could happen. But I got a feeling like this is going to be a close game again. Because the Titans' defense, for whatever reason, is just not up to par this year.
I think it'll be a close game, but then I think the Titans will realize, like, all right, we're not taking it 2 weeks in a row, and they're just going to feed Derrick Henry the ball and just let him demolish what's left of that Jaguars.
And this is usually Derrick Henry's like game.
His favorite game of the year. Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm going Titans here. Don't be shocked if you don't see like a. I just think this is going to be a 7-point game. So.
Yeah, I could see a 7-10 point game. I could see it.
It might be a 7-10 point game, but it might be in the sense of like, you could tell, when you could just tell a team's been dominating all game, whether it's just red zone conversions, they can't get it done and they settle for field goals, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It might be like that. But they're going to dominate the clock, the Titans.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
That was cool.
Titans.
Yep. All right. Minnesota and Tampa Bay.
I'm going Tampa here. I know Minnesota's been. I think they won the last 4 out of 5, right?
Yeah, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6.
Minnesota's been. They're actually in the playoffs right now. If the season ended today.
Who was their last 4 to 5 though?
Just falling. I'm gonna go Bucks here. They're coming off a bye week, and I don't believe in the Vikings still. Like there's too much that's like. They just seem like they're very mediocre. I don't even know how they're winning the last 5 out of 6. Like games like Jacksonville goes to overtime.
Yeah.
They lost to Dallas 3 weeks ago. So I'm going Bucks here. I think Ronald Jones is going to have a big day. Mike Evans is kind of questionable, but
I just got the report now. He practiced in full today.
Okay, so he's going to play. So even if he wasn't going to play, I'm still picking the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm not wasting time. Even though, Tampa has fallen off the last few weeks, like they lost week 1 against the Saints. It was an ugly game. Tom didn't look too good. But then after that, they went on like a streak, when they dominated Green Bay and basically anybody else who stepped in front of them. And then they started going downhill and they got blown out by the Saints again. Or even when they looked bad in that half against the Chargers, the first half, but came back in the second. This is, veteran quarterbacks, this is what tends to happen. You kind of ride out the regular season because especially a quarterback like Tom Brady, when he's built for the playoffs and it's nearing that time, he knows he has to fight for the wild card because the division's out of reach now, I think. The Saints, if Tampa loses this game, the Saints win the division automatically, or if the Saints win, they win it automatically. So they're fighting for a wild card, and this is one of the wild card teams that they have to beat to get it. Tom knows that going in. They had a week to prepare, and it's not like they're facing a juggernaut that they have to get ready for. So I'm going Tampa.
And it's in Tampa. Kirk Cousins' away games this year are terrible. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Needless to say, I think I'm going to go Tampa. Also, I'm not going to put faith in a team that had to go to overtime with the Jaguars last week to even scrape out a win against a Tom Brady that's been rested full on a bye week. Just not.
Don't say that. They'll give the Jaguars some respect. They almost went to overtime against Green Bay.
Yeah, and even that. The Buccaneers do the one thing the Vikings do well is stop the run. Like I know Dalvin Cook's been phenomenal this year, but the Bucs are number 1 or 2 in the NFL and just yards per team given up.
Time and time again, that front seven's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that $3?
Back.
Yeah.
All right. Kansas City going to Miami.
So I actually think this is going to be a great game.
Yeah.
Only because Bill Belichick is one of the only people who's ever given Mahomes I don't want to say trouble, but compared to his usual games, you can see whenever he plays a Belichick defense that it's a little bit not what he would say is up to par. And Flores, I think, is going to run the same thing against Mahomes. But I'm still going to go with the Chiefs here. I think Tua played okay last week, but I just don't feel like Tua has enough to keep up with Mahomes.
Yeah. It comes down to that for me. I think he should be. I think it was just last week where he was kind of with the illness thing. This week he should be playing.
Okay.
Regardless of, CEH playing or not, it's not like the Chiefs, run the ball that much anyway. When you have Travis Kelce dominating the line of scrimmage, whether it's just his separation in the first few seconds makes it impossible for anybody to get to Mahomes. And they've had offensive line injuries all year, and nobody's even discussing it. This was any other team in the league, any other quarterback in the league, he would have been up there for most sacked in the league. But it's just the fact that you have so many weapons that could get open so fast and you get rid of the ball so fast, it makes it unfair for defensive linemen to try to get in the backfield. And Tua, like Ryan said, he played okay. It's impressive in the fact that he hasn't had an interception yet in his career. He's good at taking care of the ball, very Drew Brees-esque in that sense, and that's what people were saying coming out of college. But if you're going to play Kansas City and Mahomes, you have to be more of a risk taker, even if it means coughing up an interception. You need to force the ball downfield. You can't always take the safe option because you need to score points against this team. I'm going Chiefs.
I want to go Chiefs, but like Ryan said, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, if something like
I just don't think Tua takes enough risks to be able to score 30 points or whatever it's gonna take.
The Dolphins would have to hang on to the ball, like just kind of kill the clock. Like
I'm just having the problem with Kansas City's defense.
it is really like compared to
Chris Jones is going to be a menace in this game.
The Chiefs' defense has taken like a step back a lot.
Chris Jones is going to be a menace in this game.
They just let Melvin Gordon hit him up for like 130 yards, I think.
Yep, and Drew Lock had a chance to like kind of win that game a few times. It just didn't happen. But Melvin Gordon was good. Tim Patrick. So the Chiefs' defense is a concern. Like there's no doubt about
it. That's the only thing I think that's like really like hindering me from wanting to lock in Chiefs 100% this week. But I think for now I'm gonna go with Chiefs. I might switch the pick.
It's just hard to pick against the Chiefs because, like, even if Mahomes struggles early on, it's possible. You see Mahomes, he could heat up and score like 3 touchdowns in 3 straight drives. So
who on this offensive line?
But Miami's defense aren't slouches either. You know what I mean? Like
not at all. Yeah, you got Byron Jones.
They're one of the best.
They have one of the best units out there right now in the NFL.
Who on the offensive line for Miami can stop Chris Jones?
No one.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I think that's
Robert Hunt.
There's a rookie quarterback back there. It was going to look like what Aaron Donald did, even though Cam Newton's obviously not a rookie. Aaron Donald was crazy last night. He was in the backfield every play.
I think Tua
David Andrews hasn't had
I feel like Tua can get away a little bit.
Tua has definitely had more mobile than Cam Newton is at this point, though.
He's going to have to get away out of the pocket. I'm telling you, like
Ryan
said, if you're going to beat them, they need to control the clock.
He's always been like a move your legs, get out of the way quarterback. Like he's not like it's not something new to him.
I mean,
if Miles Gaskin needs to take more risks this game.
Again, rushing, there's a chance for the Dolphins to win this game. Just keep the Chiefs off the field as long as you can.
That's the only way. Like you really just have to keep Mahomes off the field.
And the Dolphins, really don't go long. So like they love to hold the ball. If you just watch their games, like Tua has like 8-minute drives all the time.
I know, but you can't have an 8-minute drive and
like receivers. They just have like big body guys.
Right, you can't settle for field goals. But
that's what I'm saying. Having an 8-minute drive is not going to do you anything when you settle for a field goal and Mahomes scores in 45 seconds in 3 plays.
He won't score in 45 seconds. Not against the Dolphins.
Not against this defense. No.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though. All it's going to take is one Tyreek Hill post route, or Travis Kelce like a post down the middle.
Yeah,
it's always something.
This is gonna be.
The Chiefs are not going to run the ball.
This is going to be a chess match. I want to tune into this game. I really want to see the Dolphins' defense against Mahomes.
B-Flow, man. I have faith in B-Flow a little bit. That's why I'm like kind of teetering.
Me too. But I'm still going Chiefs here. So
3 Chiefs.
I'll go Chiefs for right now.
All right. Broncos and Panthers. Panthers coming off a bye, and Drew Lock is practicing, and he will play.
And Christian McCaffrey isn't playing.
Yeah, again.
And neither is who was it? One other.
DJ Moore's still in the COVID list, but they don't know.
To be honest with you, who cares, man? Robbie Anderson has just looked so good this year. I don't even care.
Curtis Samuel just got moved off the list.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel should be playing.
I'm gonna go Panthers.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big believer in Locke. Like we see he can lose you games. Like last week against the Chiefs.
This is gonna be a high scoring game, I think.
Like how high? Like how high? What are you thinking?
I would if the over. Is there any way of knowing the over under?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna check it right now.
Go check it. If the over under is like 40 points, 42.5, I might take the over.
45.5.
45.5.
I'd go under. I think it's gonna be 24.
Yeah, definitely under. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like crazy.
Yeah, it's not gonna be over 45, but it'll be over 40. I feel like. I think both teams could easily score 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I had trouble taking this game only because I don't know if you guys know this, but based on the Sunday night game, the Broncos are the number 1 red zone defense in the NFL.
I don't think that matters against Joe Brady. I think Joe Brady right now, if I told you, I remember how many weeks ago was it, Ryan, where I said if the Jets hired Joe Brady in a year's time, or not next year, but the year after, they could compete for like an AFC championship game, like to get there.
Mm-hmm.
My faith in Joe Brady is off the charts. I think he's going to be the number 1 or should be the number 1 head coaching candidate going into next offseason in a few months. And I just think this offense is just going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially in this game against this Broncos defense that's struggling.
Yeah, I think I have more faith in Teddy Bridgewater than I do Drew Lock in this game. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there.
And they're in Carolina. They're in Carolina. It's not.
I mean,
bad.
honestly, to be real honest with you, I don't even think home field advantage matters. The Giants walked in essentially
Well, no,
last week.
only just it does matter if you play in Denver though. It has nothing to do with
Oh
fans.
yeah, Denver because of the air, but
mile high, yeah.
yeah, whatever. Everywhere else, I feel like hasn't mattered at all this year at all.
It's
Except,
pretty even. Like a
It's at
50.
MetLife. No one likes
Yeah.
playing in MetLife because of the turf. So I think the Giants and Jets have a little bit of a scare advantage there. Still don't manage.
It's not
to
much of a
cover the
difference
juice,
because there's no fans either way for the Jets. Not recently, anyway.
Yeah, so I'm going Panthers. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm also gonna go Panthers. This was tough for me just because like I feel like I never know what Denver team I'm gonna get. Like, is Drew Lock gonna come out this week and score 2 or 3 touchdowns, or is he gonna turn the ball over 3 times?
It's really weird because when they played like the subpar teams, they don't play good. But when they play like the Kansas Cities of the world, like they always keep it close somehow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go Carolina here. I think it's the safer bet.
Very fair, very fair. This is what I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. I think this is actually going to be a lot closer game than people think. And I think it's going to be a great game, actually. I don't know. I came out that David Johnson's not playing or might not play for personal issues.
Lock it in. The Giants
Texans
are
versus
coming
Bears.
Oh, sorry.
Texans versus Bears.
I think this is easy. I don't think the Bears are gonna win another game this year.
Whoa.
Matt Nagy's gone. I think we all know it. So what's it, 6 in a row losses? You let Stafford throw for 400 yards on you. I'm going Texans here. Deshaun Watson's playing out of his mind.
I don't want any slander on Matt Stafford, man. Matt Stafford's a good quarterback.
I love Stafford.
Trapped in Detroit.
My slander's on Matt Nagy and the Bears. Like, they've quit on him. They've quit.
Well,
I mean, look, we've seen the issues from the beginning of the year with Allen Robinson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've known the issues have been there.
To Ryan's claim, they play the Texans this week. Next week, they go to Minnesota. Then they go to Jacksonville. And they finish the season home against Green Bay.
They're going to win 1 game at most. And Matt Nagy's going to be fired. I think
they'll win 1 game, and they'll win 1 or 2 games, I think. And I'm going to give it to them this week, and I have them maybe beating Jacksonville.
I'm going to say 0. I'm going to stick to 0.
All right. I for your sake, I hope so. I hope Jacksonville was able to beat them.
The way Jacksonville's playing right now, and if the Bears keep losing the next week or 2, they'll have nothing to play for with Nagy.
I just think injuries and missing players, PED suspensions, is going to catch up against Houston, against a defense like this. Just because the team's giving up on Nagy and the offense has looked putrid all season, whether it's with Nick Foles or with Trubisky.
Either way.
You still have playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. It's not your quarterback, but you still have playmakers. And David Montgomery had one of his better games of the season. And I'm gonna ride out with the Bears at home. Just solely for the fact that we see what the Texans look like without Will Fuller, and we see what they look like without David Johnson. So I'm going Bears. I don't see how you could score that many points without Will Fuller and David Johnson.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Deshaun Watson's not gonna be able to do it by himself, especially against this kind of a defense. You have like Pro Bowlers everywhere. So
defense looked great last week.
Ryan, but you're not working with anything. And you know me, I'm number one in defense.
The Texans were 1 bad snap away from winning the Colts game. They went down to win the game right at the end.
Look, in all fairness, though, when your defense is on the field so much, like, you can only play.
The Bears' defense is one of the better units in the NFL. I'm just saying, overall, as a team, I think the Bears have quit. I don't think it's possible to lose. Like, the Lions were without DeAndre Swift and Kenny Galladay, and Matt Stafford had 400 yards passing. You're telling me Deshaun Watson can't throw for 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns? I think he's going to. I think Deshaun Watson's the top 3 quarterback this year. I think he's been unbelievable. I think the Bears team is dead. And the Texans are, for whatever reason, the Texans.
Look, it's fair. It's not impossible for the Texans to win the game. If I'm betting man, I'm easily betting on Chicago.
Don't bet. They've lost 6 in a row. Do not bet on the Bears if anyone's listening.
Why?
Because they stink.
I would bet on the Bears.
They stink.
They could lose as many as they want in a row. Look at the Jets. They almost won. They lost 11 to 12.
The Bears are actually underdogs this week.
I'm smashing that. If they're under, I'm smashing that.
They'll smash it. The Texans are going to win this one.
No, you should smash that, honestly. That's easy money, dude.
How much are they under by? Underdogs by 3?
Not like much. Let me see right now. Hold on.
I'll be like 1 because the Bears are still home.
They're plus 100. So that's not much. And then the Texans are minus 120.
So there's like nothing in this.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, there's no reason to bet it, but I'm confident that the Bears would win. Again, it's just solely based off of who's playing in the game, who's active, who's going to be on the field. We've seen Deshaun do things with, not a lot of talent around him, but this is just asking too much. And I'm the biggest Deshaun fan. I wanted the Jets to take him back when they drafted Jamal Adams at number 4.
But
I'm the biggest Deshaun guy.
Because I know Will Fuller didn't play last week. You didn't think like Kiki QT and Chad Hansen did enough? They
I don't
both
think
had
it's
over
going to be
100
enough.
yards.
I don't think they're going to go both over 100 yards again. And David
might not
Johnson
be
could have a really
playing
bad
consistent.
stat line. It could be like 10 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown or 2, but he opens up the game. He does, because he runs out of the backfield and he demands your fastest linebacker to go on him. I don't think Duke Johnson's a threat. He drops too many passes and just running up the middle. When was the last time you've seen a positive play out of Duke Johnson? You're like, oh wow, if Duke Johnson didn't pull that one off.
Yeah, I mean, I think Duke's been disappointing, but I don't think David Johnson's been really good this year outside of the Chiefs game.
Statistically, I agree with you, but do you not think that he opens up the offense even a little bit?
No.
Really?
I think he might get an extra yard or 2 during when he runs the ball, but all stats lines are like 40 to 60 yards rushing.
I don't know. I think he opens up the game just a little bit more for Deshaun Watson to move out of the pocket and do what he has to do.
We've been hard on Montgomery, so I will apologize. Montgomery's been playing really well the last 2 or 3 weeks for the Bears.
Finally.
I mean, granted, it's an easy schedule, but at the same time, he's taking advantage of it. As you've seen, we can talk about easy schedule, but you know what's going on in Philly. Miles Sanders is not running the ball at all. So credit to David Montgomery. At least he's looking the part now for the Bears.
And you would think after injury he would slow down even more so, but he came back better.
I think he had that groin thing in the beginning of the year, and I don't think
that's a nagging though. That's that lasts.
Yeah, I don't think he fully recovered from it. So I think
either way, it's encouraging for the Bears next year. Just going forward, if he can, be a consistent, factor.
So me and Markel going Chicago. Ryan, you're going Houston.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next game, Markel, you're starting off. You're at MetLife, New York Giants against the Arizona Cardinals, who are on a slump, and Kyler Murray has acknowledged the offense hit a wall, he said.
I'm taking the Giants this week, but it's just because I want to see them win. Look, the Cardinals have been playing really, really bad, like you said, the offense for the past couple of weeks, but I think they are going to try and figure it out. But the Giants defense isn't one of those teams that you probably want to try and figure it out against. You probably have a set plan going in. So I have Kyler Murray struggling again this week against the Giants defense. And I think, what are we getting? Daniel Jones back also?
He should
be. Is that confirmed, or is that just he's taking light reps?
I can find out right now.
Granted, though, Colt McCoy didn't look, bad. He did what he had to do.
Yeah, but I think you want Daniel Jones back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I want Daniel Jones, but.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm also going Giants in this one. I really like Patrick Graham and what the Giants are doing defensively. Wayne Gallman just been going off. Seems like he's consistent every single week. And
Darius Slayton's so upsetting, though.
What happened?
Darius Slayton has just been very, very upsetting.
Yeah, he's been kind of – well, last week I'll give him a pass because it was Colt McCoy, but –
Even the week before, though.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of Sterling Shepard and Wayne Gallman. And even Golden Tate's come back to life a little bit.
Yeah.
But
he was limited, Daniel Jones, in Wednesday and Thursday's practice.
I think that's on track to play. So as long as Daniel Jones plays, I'm picking the Giants.
This game's hard for me because there's a scenario in which it could go either way. And every single time the Giants do match up with the Cardinals, I feel like it's always a good game. It always has been. It's always been close. I remember the breakout Chase Edmonds game. I think it was, a year ago, maybe 2. But again, Kenyon Drake's been playing well, so I don't know if they're going to actually – I just think speed's going to kill in terms of this Giants defense because Kenyon Drake, even though he's been doing good recently, all season I haven't really seen the burst from Kenyon Drake. Have you guys seen that out of the back? When you find the hole and then the running backs just hit that second gear and they fly? I have not seen that. It's been staying in first gear for Kenyon Drake. So if he's not at goal line, he's not scoring.
Outside of that Dallas big run, that was it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but that's against Dallas, and they're doing that to everybody. So
I'm saying season wide, for the majority.
no, yeah, I'm with you. Kenyon Drake's been disappointing this year. He's kind of bounced back a little bit, but
I think it's going to be a slow start for the Cardinals, definitely. And I think this game is going to come down to halftime adjustments and better coaching. And surprisingly, at this point in the season, the better coaching, I'm giving the hand to the Giants. So right now, I'm picking Giants. I think it's going to come down to adjustments at the half just because of how well these teams play each other. But if Cliff Kingsbury could be able to adjust well to what the Giants are showing on defense and implement changes into the offense, wherever they're doing up, whatever they're drawing up, and start implementing Chase Edmonds because he's good against the Giants, I think that's the only Cardinals' only shot of winning. I'm going to pick the Giants for now, but I could flip-flop, Sunday morning.
Is Blake Martinez playing? Because I seen he got hurt in the end of the Seattle game.
Check that too.
And I will say, while you're looking that up, let's give props to the big cat, Leonard Williams, NFC, I think, Defensive Player of the Week.
Dude, finally, man. Finally.
A player
out of him.
He's
been so good this year.
He's been really good this year, and he's definitely earned an extension. So we'll see if he gets one with the Giants.
I have no idea if Blake Martinez is going to play or not. It's not saying.
I think he needs to play because he's been really good this year. So, but I'm pretty confident. I feel like this is a good pick. I like the Giants this week.
Yeah, there's no exact.
Yeah, it just says questionable.
Yeah,
We'll find out Sunday morning. So, but for right now, I'm going to pick the Giants.
All right, it's 3 Giants, but I could easily switch it Sunday morning. I think Ryan says he'll flip-flop too. All right, Dallas Cowboys against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati.
The Andy Dalton revenge game. Possibly.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Dallas just for that.
I don't know, man. This one's going to be a stinker, like a high-scoring stinker, though.
High scoring, you think?
Yeah, because Dallas can't stop anything. So,
but you don't understand. I understand how bad Dallas's defense. They might have been the worst defense in the league this season. Honestly, probably are. But Andy Dalton has never looked truly bad in his career. He's always been inconsistent, but he's always had his great games until last season when they benched him. That's when you knew Cincinnati was tanking. But you would think, regardless of how bad the defense is, that him and this, even with a bad offensive line, when you have as many weapons as you do, and Ezekiel Elliott, who still doesn't look as good, just having them there, you would think that this offense would still be productive and consistent, and it's not. And I just
thought it looked okay against Baltimore.
Well, the way that offense is set up is just pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, and when you don't have an offensive line to do that, you can't. Yeah,
and Mike McCarthy, he's not a good coach either.
Yeah,
so.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, I know. But I just feel like this offense should still be more productive than what it is. And you know what they're probably thinking? Jerry Jones probably is like, I'm Miss Jason Garrett. He's probably looking at what's going on in New York and how good that offense is looking compared to how it started off in the beginning of the season. Jason Garrett's been calling great plays. And I remember he was being questionable at the beginning of the season, back when Saquon was still there. It was like, oh, come on, what are we doing? You should be going for this one. You shouldn't be doing this in this situation. But he's turned it around, Jason Garrett. I'm going Dallas just because of the star-studded named offense against the Joe Burrow-less Bengals team. But in Dallas Cowboy fashion, there's an easy way for them to lose this game. Easy way.
Yeah,
I could agree with that.
I'm also
as long as Tyler Boyd doesn't get ejected.
But I would not be stunned if the Bengals win this game at all.
As long as Tyler Boyd doesn't get ejected again.
I wouldn't be stunned either, but I think they're at the point now where I don't think they want to win any more games to improve their draft stock, so I think they're going to try and lose.
That would be my strategy if I was Dallas, though, too. I know what you're saying for the Bengals. It makes sense.
I get that, but I think the Bengals are just all right,
yeah,
just really screwed up our franchise QB. Let's get him some help. And if they move past 3, they're not getting that tackle.
Well, they both need an offensive tackle. Dallas, you could argue, also needs a guard, but just offensive linemen in general. And then both of these defenses still have major holes. I wouldn't be surprised.
Nice. They have a lot of holes.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see one of these teams in the offseason come draft day trade down. I feel like both of these teams are trade down candidates.
Nah, not if one of them are.
I don't think Cincinnati would. I agree with you on Dallas. They definitely could.
Whoever I feel like is at 4, yeah, but not at 3. Whoever's at 3 is going to take that tackle.
I'm not. Again, I'm a Saints fan. I'm not looking at the draft, so you guys know better than I do about the college.
Yeah,
game.
for sure. That kid is
I'm not
like
watching
not
college
going
ball.
past
The guy for the Oregon kid.
Yeah,
I'm watching.
Yeah, P9 something with
You
an
guys
S.
watch your college games. I literally watch Drew Brees practice. I'll watch. I'll put up the Saints practice, whether it's live stream on Twitter or whatever it is. Him in the red shirt doing his stretches, and that's what I'm doing on Saturdays.
No,
I'm not watching no
you could
college
watch
ball.
somebody in orange.
College game
Make
tape.
sure those ribs are good.
College game tape. That's all you got to be watching.
Yeah, I'll watch it. After February.
Or October.
Yeah, October.
Yeah.
I start
October.
watching whenever the Saints get eliminated. So it's usually wild card round or NFC Championship round.
All right, what's the next game this week?
Colts at Raiders.
I was talking about this with Ryan before the podcast started. I'm picking against the Raiders this week because they look god-awful against the Jets.
Yeah, I don't know how you could see that performance and be confident what the Raiders are doing against that Colts defense. And if Ty Johnson and all these guys, all these bums, no offense, Ryan, on the Jets, are running all over
100 yards rushing. I don't know.
are running all over this Raiders team, could you imagine what Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines are going to do?
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty.
I told Markello this. The Raiders are going to win maybe one more game the rest of the year if you look at their schedule.
I think that's being a little harsh on them, but
I mean, they have to prove to me otherwise because they did this last year. They lost out, and it looks like other than them playing the Jets, they might lose out again in December. It's possible.
We have Ryan saying half the teams in the league are going to lose the rest of the year.
No, I said the Bears, and I said the Raiders.
I'm not even going to lie to you.
They play.
I'm probably going to pick, depending on how the Raiders play this weekend. I know next week for sure I'm probably picking against them again.
They play the Colts this week. I'm picking the Colts. I think everybody in the world's picking the Colts.
Yeah, I'm picking the Colts.
They play the Chargers next week.
I'm picking the Chargers.
I'm picking the Chargers on that.
Then they play Miami.
The Dolphins.
I'm going Miami.
Dolphins.
And then Denver.
All right, now they're going to get.
They might go 8-8. Is that game in Denver?
Yeah, it's in Denver.
So I'm going Denver again.
In January.
So all right, they could win the Denver game. I'll give them credit. They could go 8-8. But then again, if they lose the next 3 in a row, right? What does that do to their?
Oh, that kills your confidence.
Yeah. So they could really.
That's like Derek Carr. Pack your bags. You're getting out of here.
If they lose out again, what does that say about the Raiders franchise under John Gruden and Derek Carr?
It's not. No, honestly, I think it's not.
I wouldn't even blame it on John Gruden.
Yeah.
John Gruden deserves a lot of the blame last week. I'm sorry. You know that anybody watching the Jets knows just throw it against their secondary. This guy is force-feeding Devin Booker. It wasn't even Josh Jacobs.
I understand. But you have to understand he is a traditional coach. He wants to ground and pound and put the game away. But don't say that he didn't take his shots because he drew up plays to take shots. Derek Carr was just missing it over and over again.
Yeah, but he did it when
it wasn't just that one Nelson Aguilar, in the end zone.
No, I'm with you. I don't. It's not fully on Gruden last week, but it was because Gruden took his foot off the gas last week, whether he wants to admit it or not. I know the shots came at the end, and the Jets stopped them the first time, but John Gruden had 3 drives in a row where he didn't even throw the ball.
Well, honestly, again, I would have thrown it. There's no circumstance in which, even if Derek Carr's missing it, but it's discouraging seeing your quarterback missing these throws. He looked like Jimmy Garoppolo last week, Derek Carr.
Oh, that's tough.
Did he not?
I mean, Derek, you guys know that I've never been the biggest fan, but he's been really good this year. But it scares me again. We're getting a little bit of a repeat of what happened last season toward the end of the year.
And look, Ryan actually made a good point. There is I just looking at the remaining 4 games that the Raiders have, I could see not easy, but I do see a way for them to lose the rest of their games. I see it. I don't think they're going to beat the Colts. The Chargers, again, it's in Las Vegas, and at this point, I just think the Chargers are losing games.
That game, their last game came down to literally the last play of the game.
Yeah, that's going to be
what else is new? What else is new? That's going to be hard for me to call next week. It's a Thursday night game, so that'll actually be fun to watch. I can't wait for Thursday. And then you have Miami. I'm taking Miami, and then they play Denver. And in a divisional game, last game of the season, depending on,
that's probably going to be first seeding too for them to see if they make it in or not. Because if they lose out, they're probably going to be in a position where they're going to have to win
that's what I'm saying. So
week, and then 2 other teams are
that last game's up in the air.
Well, it looks like because we have that one extra spot, it's going to be between Baltimore and the Raiders, and Baltimore to me seems more likely to go on a little bit of a run than the Raiders right now.
But but I'm saying if it comes down to a situation where 2 teams are about to finish 8-8, it's going to be the Raiders need to win, but Baltimore needs to lose, and it's going to be that kind of a situation for them. I could see definitely that happening.
If Josh Jacobs is ready to play next Thursday, I would pick the Raiders to win. If not, there's a good chance the Raiders lose the next 3 weeks. And if they lose the next 3 weeks, they're already going to be out of the playoffs, and I'll probably end up picking Denver in January.
Yeah,
And that would have them losing out. So I'm more on Ryan's side in terms of the Raiders losing out more so than Chicago losing out. Anyway,
so is it safe to say we're all going to pick against the Raiders this week?
Well, all three of us are going Colts.
Okay.
Ryan, starting off with this one, Ryan, I want you to at least talk about this for 5 to 10 minutes.
No, don't.
The Jets are going to Seattle. Jamal Adams revenge game.
This one should be no problem because Denzel Mims is not playing or Jamison Crowder.
Crowder's out officially? I don't know if he wasn't playing.
They didn't announce it, but like based on what's happening here, he got hurt again in practice. So to me, it seems like there's no need to push him.
Seattle's at home and they're due for a bounce back.
They got embarrassed by New York.
We're going to hope Frank Gore plays this weekend so we don't have another big 100-yard rusher. Ty Johnson. Can't have that again.
I think Jamal Adams might play like the best game of his career.
Ryan, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I'm sorry. Seattle is actually going to play like a very, very hard game against you guys. And you can thank the Giants for that.
Honestly, I don't think so. Seattle always play down the I'm still banking on Seattle winning this game. I'm picking Seattle. Seattle have, to me, I've never seen them blow out anybody. They just always play down to the competition. I really hope that they don't force feed the ball to like Carson and Hyde because that's the only thing the Jets do well. Like, please, like I love Chris Carson. I hope he has a good game, but like
they're not going to do that.
They do.
There's not one person. I know they do that, but there's not one person on the Jets roster, offense or defense. You can put an offensive player out there that could stop DK Metcalf or could guard him.
But like we also have to realize that Seattle's offensive coordinator is the guy who took the Jets to the AFC Championship game, Brian Schottenheimer. Now, what does he love to do? He runs the football too many times. Like Russell Wilson has not been able to cook now for like 5 weeks. This should be an easy bounce back game. Just let him throw DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, really anybody.
Cover zero, put Lamar Jackson on DK Metcalf.
Well, Lamar Jackson isn't starting this week anymore. But yeah, I don't think there's need to talk about this for 5-10 minutes. This would have been a much more interesting game if the Jets had like Denzel Mims and Crowder playing because Seattle's defense can't stop anything. Well, once again, but if Frank Gore's back, I think we're fine.
Finding a way of losing.
Yeah. But don't be surprised. Like, this is going to be as close to the game as the Raiders game. But don't be surprised if you see like the second quarter and it's only like 10-3 or 10-7. It just, I don't know. I'm not nervous about
You're
this
right.
game,
Seattle always
Raiders.
does that.
It's just the way Seattle plays.
Seattle's not going to lose this game in the fourth quarter.
No, I'm just saying they're going to keep it unfortunately close. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that Jamal Adams will have a kind of performance like he had against the Giants, where he's going to have the 4 fumbles, the strip sacks,
whatever it takes.
Don't matter. They still lost.
For us Jet fans, it really doesn't matter. If he's happy taking a ball back to the house, I'll be happy for him because I want the Jets to lose this game. So take it back to the crib. We have 2 first-round picks from you, so thank you.
Yep.
That's a fact.
I'm going Seattle. I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
There was no need to talk because the Jets don't have anybody this week. So it's going to be Bashard Perryman and the crew.
The Jets, I'm telling you, they better give Joe Brady his due diligence in the offseason. I understand there's more enticing names to go after, whether it's one of the college coaches or even if it's Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I do think Joe Brady's going to be like the next Sean McVay coming out in terms of coaching.
Listen, I love it if he was one of our guys.
He has to be the guy.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure because we don't know for the Jets' sake. For anyone watching this, like, are the Johnsons going to conduct the whole thing again and like pick? Because
they have to learn from their mistake.
If the Johnsons are picking, forget it. Like, I don't know who we're going to hire. It's going to be something like.
No, but there's no way they're going to do that again because they remember the whole Matt Rule fiasco. Matt Rule was going to come here, but he wanted to pick his own coaching staff, and the Johnsons wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
And now look what he's doing in Carolina again.
And
Joe
like
Brady,
every single Jet fan wanted.
That.
Well, not every 70% of the fan base wanted Matt Rule. So I'm with you. Right. As long as Douglas is running it, I'll be fine. I think he'll do a good job. So.
All right. Next game. Let me go first for this one because it always like hurts me every year. So the Saints have won the division the past like 4 or 5 years in a row now, and every single time besides that one off Packers year, where like when Aaron Rodgers got hurt and all that, like the Packers are usually fighting for the same seeding that the Saints are. And once again, just like last year, we're in that same scenario where we're fighting for seeding. And the Packers always play the Lions at the end of the season. It's always an important game. It, again, with seeding, NFC teams, let alone divisional teams. And the Lions always look like they're going to win the game, and they purposely lose it in the fourth quarter. Again, it was under Patricia for the past few years, and now it's not the case. But I do, and it's in Detroit. I think it's going to be a great game, high scoring. People are going to expect the Packers to come out firing because the Lions suck, even though they're getting back Swift or whatever this week. It's going to be a close game, and then all of a sudden you're just going to see stupid, questionable plays and execution of those plays in the fourth quarter, and the Packers are going to, slide by and sneak away within the fourth. My prediction. So I'm picking Packers, but Detroit should win this game, could win this game, but won't.
Yeah, I mean, the silver lining here is Patricia is no longer a part of the Lions. And I think the Lions is a good job to get in the offseason. I don't think they're that bad. I think they're a decent roster. But I'm just going Packers here. What happened?
Would you move on from Stafford before you get into
No, I wouldn't. I think Stafford's top 10 quarterback. But
so you think even at his age, you're riding out, building around him still?
I'm riding him out. I think he has another 4 or 5 good years left. So.
Okay.
You think 4 or 5 good years?
I don't think he's like he doesn't really rely on his athleticism. His arm's never going to go away. So.
That's true.
Marco, what do you think about that? You moving on from Stafford?
I would keep him around for like 2 to 3 years and see what's up. And then based off that, I think I'd make my decision. Like, see where he's at in 3 years.
The Lions very well could move on from him, though.
It would be very stupid of them. But then at that point, they would be breaking down into full rebuild again.
Yeah, full rebuild.
You see, my thing is, like, if I'm in that front office, my personal opinion, like, what I would do is I would get him out of there. I would get whether it was picks or players. I think you have enough young talent on your offense as of right now, high draft picks that are still young on their rookie deals. I get a young quarterback in there and start
the whole thing
building the defense.
Why trade for Matt Stafford if you're like another organization when
you don't think Minnesota would trade for Matt Stafford? That's something
they wouldn't trade within division.
But why trade for an aging Matt Stafford when a young Carson Wentz is about to be on the trade market?
We don't know what's going on
to be on the trade market. There's like plenty of serviceable young QBs around the league that you can move.
Yeah, you could say that, but as of right now, Matt Stafford's better than both of them.
Serviceable right now.
Yeah, no,
I think even Wentz in the right system would be serviceable.
I just think I've seen enough. I'm not saying, and Matt Stafford's not bad. That's not it. It's just you've been in this division long enough. You've been through in and out of coaches, in and out of different offenses. You've had Calvin Johnsons of the world. You've had these people. Never had really. There was a time when they had a good defense.
I don't know.
You've been in this division your whole life with Aaron Rodgers, and you haven't won nothing. And I'm not going to just waste years. I'm taking the risk.
That's probably more to do
taking the risk,
coaching and everything, and who they draft.
That's fine, but I don't expect that to change all of a sudden.
I mean, 31. That's what you need as in like a new whoever comes in here to take the job.
Again, that's why it's me personally. I understand why people wouldn't, because Matt Stafford's not a bad quarterback. He's good. I've seen what I need to see.
If like a team like San Francisco can get Stafford, it's over.
No, yeah, he can make a team a contender. I just when sometimes it's just good to go your separate ways. I think it's almost time for Stafford and Detroit to go their separate ways. I think it would be best for both.
Yeah, it very well could be. It just, in my personal opinion, it's gonna be really hard to get someone as good or better than Stafford. But then again, the Lions, if they do go full rebuild, they'll have time to turn it all around. It won't be a 1-year thing. So,
anyway, go into your picks. I'm sorry, I was just curious about that because I see it on Twitter all the time. Lion fans talking about that.
I'm going Packers here.
Yeah, easily.
You guys know that I really like the Lions. And what you're saying, Peter, makes a lot of sense. That seems like every game they play, almost. They're always in these close games. But now that Patricia's here, maybe they can win this game. But it just doesn't seem likely with how good Aaron Rodgers has been. Aaron Rodgers very well could win. I think his third MVP, his fourth.
I think he should win. I think he's deserving of the MVP this year.
So it's either going to be him or Mahomes at this point. So
yeah,
Aaron Rodgers has been phenomenal. Devonta Adams scores like a touchdown or two every weekend, and this is a game. I know Aaron Jones had the big run last week, but I feel like this is the Aaron Jones game, like this one. It's been a while. last week, I'm not even going to count last week because it literally came at the end of the game. But I feel like we're going to get a 200-yard performance from Aaron Jones this weekend.
200 yards?
Like overall, like rushing and receiving, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that could be possible.
I still think that's a lot considering you still have Jamal
It's a
Williams
lot,
out
but
there. He's not a
I
star.
mean, look, you
I'm
run
gonna go for
for
it.
like 130 and you get 70 out of the air. You do that.
Maybe not 200, 150.
That's more realistic.
All right.
If you include receiving. But that's 3 for Packers.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not picking against Aaron Rodgers. He's looked crazy this year.
Next game, again, I think this is a game that could go either way. I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to come down again to a game-winning drive. It's just a matter of who's going to do it. Atlanta Falcons at the LA Chargers.
They both are like bad, you know what I mean? Like they both have to No, it's just they both can't finish
Julio
games.
Jones is out. Julio Jones is out because he only comes back to play the Saints. It happens every year. Every
I
year
don't
he's
know.
hurt and he only
I just
plays
feel
against
like
the Saints.
both teams can't finish games, and even with Julio out, it doesn't really matter because you have Calvin Ridley there. So
He's slowed down.
he's slowed down a lot too. But even you know, I mean, like now with Julio being out, we'll see him get more of the target share. So we'll see probably another big game out of Calvin. But it's just like both teams can't finish the game. So it's like if I have to choose between which one's gonna fuck it up worse, I'd probably go Falcons. Like are gonna mess this up. So I'd say the Chargers are gonna pull it out like late fourth quarter on like a bum play.
Okay. I could easily see that happening. I'm going to go Atlanta, though. I think that they were in a really close game against the Saints. It kind of came down to the wire. It did come down to the wire because Taysom Hill fumbles the ball every single game he plays.
What happens when your quarterback tries to run?
Again, Anthony Lynn, like he's going to be fired. I don't see a situation in which he stays as the coach with Justin Herbert going into next year. And even though, the Falcons they haven't beaten the Saints this year, so you see the losses, piling up for them because we played them twice in the past few weeks. I'm going Matt Ryan and the Falcons. I just think that the Chargers are not well coached. I think both defenses are bottom defenses in the league, so they're both going to score against each other. I'm just going to go with experience over, the rookie, even though the rookies look good. Keenan Allen's going to have his day since he got slowed down last week against New England. I think the Chargers are going to bounce back offensively. They're not going to score 0 points, obviously. I'm just going to go with the experience with the Falcons. I just think they're better than what their record shows right now.
Yeah, but they just always manage to find a way to lose the game.
So do the Chargers.
I understand that, but I don't know.
I don't know. I'm also going Falcons here. Like I know Julio's not playing, and that's been like a factor in Matt Ryan's kind of like how he does. But I don't know. Anthony Lynn, like that was bad last week. We seen what the Patriots did 3 days later against the Rams.
He should have been fired. How Greg Williams got fired after that? He should have been fired after that performance, Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, he's going to be fired at, 4 more games left.
He
Wouldn't surprise me if the Chargers win just because of how good Herbert's been. I feel, but I'm going to take really in this game. I'm going to take Raheem Morris over Anthony Lynn at this point. And after the performance like that, we really have to see how the Chargers bounce back because, I'm expecting Herbert to bounce back, but like that's a type of game where literally the whole team can quit. Like that's how bad that game was against the Patriots. So until I see like the Chargers bounce back, there's no, and the Falcons have been playing well.
This pretty well could be the game.
What, did they bounce back?
They're going to score points just because of the Atlanta's
they're not going to score 0 points again. Like, we're
no, absolutely not. This is going to be like a good. This might be. I want to see the over under for this game. I would definitely take the over.
I think both teams can score in the 30s easily.
Look, both teams. The Falcons have 4 wins. The Chargers have 3. Right. I think the Falcons are better than a 4-8 football team. Like if they were to play a contender in the league right now, let's say if they were to play like whoever, throw out a team, a Seattle or a Rams team, like there's a good chance the Falcons could upset a really good team. I don't think the Chargers could upset a really good team.
Over under 49.5 points.
I'd go over on this one.
Over 110%.
Over 49.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is going to be like a 35-28 game. Like a
maybe Atlanta does it.
35-31.
It could very well happen.
Yeah. And honestly, I'd be happy if the Chargers win. I like Herbert, but same point, I feel like Anthony Lynn would make a mistake right at the end of the game. Like the game you're explaining, Markel will be like, oh, it all makes sense. Chargers are going in to win. And they'll get like stuffed at the 1-yard line or something crazy.
All right. Fair enough.
But this one should be like a firework type of game. So
yeah, I'm just happy we all didn't agree. So we have 2 Falcons, 1 Chargers. This is another good game, afternoon game. The Washington football team going to play the San Francisco 49ers, but I believe it's in Arizona. It's a neutral playing
Yes.
field.
This one was tough, and this one I could really flip-flop, but I actually picked Washington. And this is more to do with like Nick Mullins, a quarterback, than anything. And the Niners did play okay against the Bills. Like their offense was like, it wasn't their offense that lost that game, but at the same point, like Washington's front is really like getting home. This front seven is crazy. I just feel like they'll cause Nick Mullins to make, a mistake or two, and I feel like Alex Smith takes care of the ball. And I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be like a high scoring game. I was gonna pick like 2017 Washington.
I completely agree with you.
There'll be a lot of McKissick checkdowns, and Terry McLaurin will have a better game this week than he did last week. So
Antonio Gibson practiced today. Oh, never mind. He was not at practice, so turf toe probably not going to play.
Yeah, he's not going to play this week.
Yeah, I could tell you for a fact I don't want to see Chase Young anymore, and I unfortunately have to see him 2 times a year for the next God knows how many years. But yeah, I think
you have Andrew Thomas.
Oh yeah, my turnstile, amazing.
He's actually played well the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's bounced back.
Yeah, because I think you finally realized that the other guy that we drafted, I think in round 7 or was completely undrafted, Matt Peart, is going to kick him out of his job spot, and he was a first-round pick. But that's besides the fact. We're not talking about the Giants right now. I just really like Washington's defense. I think this defense is going to be able to carry them the whole way throughout the season, possibly to the NFC East, just holding the title spot right there. So I like Alex Smith, but he's not really a quarterback to me anymore. I have him more so just being a game manager. He just goes out there, does what the team needs him to do, and hopefully they pull out the win like they did last week.
Yeah, so I agree with what you said too. Again, I'm going Washington, but there's an easy way that the 49ers could win this game. Kyle Shanahan's just too good of a coach and has too good of a scheme. The thing is, like you said with Alex Smith being a game manager, it's not even that I don't want it to seem like we have recency bias. They just beat an undefeated team. Now they're going to win out. It's more so I don't think Washington won that game last week. I just think Pittsburgh lost it. I think it was more of a matter of that. So there's still a way the 49ers could win. But like Ryan said, if you have Nick Mullins starting at quarterback against this good of a front, and again, you're going to have a better game from Terry McLaurin. The wide receivers in general, there's too many drops against Pittsburgh. If they hold on to those balls on third downs, you'll be able, even if it's just field goals, you'll be able to put up some kind of points.
Yeah. You got to realize Pittsburgh's also, top 3 defense.
I know, but they were just dropping open. It would be a slant route on 3rd and 5 open, and they would just drop it. Chris Sims, I think that's his name. He just too many drops.
No name. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
It's their receiving core. It's their number 2 receiver. You can't be doing that. But I'm going Washington. But again, easy way that the 49ers could also win this game. All right, we're moving on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Taysom Hill and the Saints are going to Philly to play the newly starting quarterback, Jalen Hurts. So
poor guy.
No. So if I really wanted to play Carson Wentz cannot beat the Saints. We shit on him every single time we come in contact with him. It's not even close. He's scared when he plays the Saints. And Jalen Hurts looked good. Give him his credit. Again, it's hard for a defense to scheme around a quarterback they haven't seen before. So it's going to be hard for Sean Payton and Dennis Allen to put up a game plan just to try to manage Jalen Hurts. But again, you have a rookie quarterback out there. I don't care how good you looked in, one game and a half. When you're playing the Saints defense, the way they've been playing, it's going to be hard. We've had injuries in our secondary. Some corners played Norris Jenkins. I don't know if he's going to play yet or not. Patrick Robinson got hurt too. But even with our injuries, you would think that, we would suffer. But in all reality, our defense is the most consistent thing about us right now, and it wasn't the case to start the year. We're going to go as far as Taysom takes us. Taysom needs to take care of the ball. He fumbles every single game, and even though he's looked good as a passer, I just don't know why we take away from it sometimes. Sean Payton loves these power runs with Taysom Hill, and all they do work at times. It's situational football. If Taysom threw 3 passes in a row, 4 passes in a row, and they're for long gains. I don't know if you guys saw the Saints game because it wasn't televised. Last week, it was a crucial play in the game. It was still a really close game. 3rd and 17, we got backed up. And Taysom Hill hit Michael Thomas just outside the numbers on this comeback route, placed the ball perfectly. Most quarterbacks in the league, I don't think, could have made that throw on 3rd and 17, and he made it. So he shows promise, but then he comes back out in the next drive, and he's doing these power run things, 3 and outs, and a Taysom fumble in a crucial point. So he needs to take better care of the football.
Taysom is a better runner. Like I would trust his legs better than I trust his arm.
See, I understand why people would think that, but he's not a bad passer.
I'm not saying that. I just don't think he's had the reps
His
to do
his
it.
mechanics are a little funky. He throws off. He reminds me a little bit of, not the way he throws, but his feet. He reminds me a little bit of Sam Darnold. His feet. So it's a lot of like throwing off the back foot. He has one leg in the air when he's throwing the ball. He does this kind of across his body thing.
Yeah, that's
so his feet I'm talking about. But
that's always good news.
I'm not disappointed with Taysom as a passer. I'm actually really impressed with how he's been throwing the football. It's just a matter of him taking care of the football. Teams notice, wipe the ball out of his hands while he's running it. He gets too caught up in trucking and doing all this stuff, and people are just slapping it out of his hand. He needs to take care of the football when he runs. Kamara's stat line hasn't been good, but watching the games, Alvin Kamara is special in this offense. Schemed it perfectly for it. Like, this offense is built around him.
I mean, we saw what he did when Michael Thomas was out all those weeks in the beginning of the season.
I know, but even now, when he doesn't have the stats on his side,
we knew from then, like, he was your offense. Like,
he only has one reception when Taysom Hill's been the quarterback for 3 weeks.
I know. Again, the game plan changes based off the quarterbacks. And again, Emmanuel Sanders isn't as involved in the offense, but I don't know if you guys saw, he posted, I think it was this morning or maybe it was last night. Emmanuel Sanders was on a podcast and he posted, he's like, I'm actually going to read it to you guys. It moved my heart. Because this is what I wanted him to be saying and doing. He said, I just want to win it for Drew. I just want to see Drew Brees the happiest I've ever seen him, with confetti falling on him. And if he retires, he retires. I just want to see him go out on top. So that's what we want, and that's going to happen, because before the season started, I said Saints Chiefs Super Bowl, and I'm sticking to it. It's happening. So we're going to smoke the Eagles this week in Philly. Doug Peterson doesn't know what's coming to him, because the Saints are coming in town. Who dat?
No, yeah, 100%.
Doug Peterson doesn't know what's coming to him, because he's
Philly just looks too
Monday morning
dysfunctional this year.
You guys think he's going to be fired?
Who?
Doug
Peterson. I think it depends on how Jalen Hurts finishes the season.
I think they're going to let him ride out next year with Hurts, and then they're going to see with that.
That's a good point, too. I think if he does lose out for whatever reason this season, I think he'd be fired. But if he could win,
yeah.
I honestly think
it's like
he's
4
fired.
games. I don't think they're gonna judge him on 4 games with a rookie quarterback.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It was his choice. It was his pick.
Yeah.
Him and Roseman picked him, and you that's your guy. And now you're starting. You have 4 games. You're still fighting for the division. If you win with Jalen Hurts, you're staying. I don't think you get fired. But if you have 4 games, he's going to be judged on the 4 games. He's going to be judged on the division. If you don't win the division with Jalen Hurts and he doesn't look good, you're fired. That's what I think.
You can't put it on if they're going to win the division or not, because they're not.
I think it does come down to that, because I know how pissed off the Eagles ownership is right now. And the thing is, like, Jalen Hurts wasn't supposed to be the guy. Like, I know they drafted him in the 2nd round, but Carson Wentz's contract hasn't even kicked in yet, the extension. So Carson Wentz was the Eagles guys, supposed to be the Eagles guy, and that's not going to pan out. So I think Peterson and Wentz were the guys always tied together. I know technically Hurts, was drafted under Peterson, but I don't think if the Eagles don't make the playoffs this year, I think Doug Peterson's fired, and they're not going to beat the Saints Sunday.
No, sure.
I like Jalen Hurts.
A big factor is going to be too if Teron Armstead is playing, because he missed last week, and even though we still did what we did in the running game, and he's good in the pass defense and passing blocking and run blocking, but there's been some sacks that if Armstead was playing, it wouldn't have happened. So it's also going to be a big factor against the Eagles' defensive line.
Yeah, the Eagles have like a good front, but that's about it right now.
Yeah,
for their team.
So I hope
our offensive line's really banged up. Jason Peters went on; he's gone for the year now too. So I think this is the 13th different combination for their offensive line, and against the Saints front, good luck.
And no matter who's coaching the Eagles, I'm 21 years old, and for as long as I've been watching football, since I've been in elementary school, the Saints have always beaten the Eagles. I remember playing Michael Vick in the playoffs, Wildcard round. We would beat them, and so no matter the Saints, Sean Payton just had their number.
In the playoffs too.
Yeah, we just dating back all the way then, it's the Saints. Some teams have the other team's number, and Sean Payton just does great against the Eagles. I don't know if that has to do with like the Parcells coaching tree just over time, being passed down from the Cowboys, but that's one of the teams we just dominate every time. So we'll go to the next game, the Sunday night game. The Pittsburgh Steelers, now defeated, as Ryan predicted. Been good with the upsets against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Ryan, start off since you're the Steelers expert. This is your Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I'm actually going Bills here. And I know it's
Two in a row.
2 in a row, yeah. You guys know that I've kind of changed my stance on Allen. I've given the Bills a lot of credit too, and that was probably the best game I've ever seen Josh Allen play against the Niners. That was pretty incredible. I don't think he was like, didn't matter if he was getting pressured. He was just finding, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox. It didn't really matter. He was phenomenal last week. And Pittsburgh to me looked like the last 2 weeks. I know they beat that Baltimore team, like the backup team, but they did not play good in that game either. So maybe they bounce back this week. I'm sure they will. But I really don't like what Pittsburgh's doing offensively. Everything's like a check down. It's not even a slant anymore. It's like
it's a drag.
Why is Eric Ebron getting 11 targets per game and he's dropping
all of them?
Yep,
he's dropping all of them.
It's like Deontay Johnson also has 8 drops on the year. Where was Chase Claypool last game? He played only like 30% of the snaps. I don't know.
He almost had that 50.
Benny Snell literally had 4 rushes for 6 yards. So there's literally no run game in Pittsburgh right now. Maybe James Conner changes that this week because he's back. But for right now, from what I've seen with the Bills last week with Josh Allen and the way that Pittsburgh's offense is playing the last 2 weeks, I'm going to go Buffalo. And it's in Buffalo too.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. I think this is Pittsburgh's first time seeing a legit team on their schedule. And we saw what happened last week. God knows what happened last week against a Washington team. But I think this is the first time we're going to see Ben get tested.
Yeah, and honestly, Bud Dupree is such a big loss, and their other starting linebacker, Vince Williams, got put on the COVID list. So you're missing Bush, obviously, torn ACL. Now your two regular starters for the inside linebacker are gone. And
Yep.
Bud Dupree was having a top 10 year on the other side of TJ Watt. So that takes a lot off the pass rush. And for whatever reason, the Steelers secondary is it's very up and down recently.
So I'm flip-flopping on this game. I truly don't know what to pick because I was originally assuming that the Steelers were going to beat Washington last week, and I thought that they would lose against the Bills this week. Initially, I was like, okay, it's in Buffalo. I know home field doesn't really matter, and it's not like Pittsburgh's not used to the cold or anything. But now that they lost, is it going to be like a kind of a bounce back thing, regardless of how hot the Bills are, or is it going to be still a little bit of a slump offensively? So right now, I don't want to be recency bias. I'm flip flopping. I don't think you could still consistently play that bad offensively, but again, it's the NFL. It could easily happen, and the defense just hasn't been as dominant. There's no reason why they should have given up as many yards as they did the past, honestly, 2 weeks, even to the Ravens team. So I'm just going to go with the team eye test that has been playing better as of recent. I'm going to go Bills. But if I'm in a survivor league or if I have to bet on this game, I'm just staying away from it.
Yeah.
And it's not a knock against the Bills. It's just how up and down and inconsistent the Steelers could be. Regardless of them being, the number 1 seed. It's scary what they could do offensively, and now, as of recent, defensively, what they could give up and to who they're giving it up to. So we'll see. But I'm going Bills for now.
All 3 Bills. I didn't expect that, honestly. I thought I was going to go lone wolf.
I don't want to be a victim of recency bias. It's just, again, even if the Steelers won last week and the Bills lost, I would have picked the Bills this week. It's just a matter of eye test, who's been playing better recently. And I understand matchup goes into it. And if you ask me matchup-wise, I actually think the Steelers match up good against the Bills.
So do I.
Matchup for matchup. So that's why I'm flip-flopping. I think they match up better. I think these are both 2 great coaching staffs, 2 great rosters. It's going to be a good game. This is a playoff game.
Pretty much.
They could easily meet in the playoffs again. These 2 teams. So I can't wait to watch every second of this game. I'm going Bills for now. I could flip-flop depending on injury reports and all that, or just flip-flop in general. So for the podcast sake, I'm saying Bills, but I could easily switch.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. This one's it's kind of tough to decide at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if either team wins. The Steelers could easily bounce back, but I don't know. They seem to be like they're in a slump. So I'm just going to pick Josh Allen. Then again, Josh Allen might have the best game of his career than we'll see this week. But
That's why it's hard. Both teams, you never know what you're going to get.
Josh Allen's been pretty consistent this year overall. So,
last game of the week, Monday night. This is another game that could go either way. I've been picking against the Browns recently, so I don't know if I can keep doing it. It's the divisional game, Ravens and Browns in Cleveland, Monday night.
I'm going to pick against them this week. As good as Baker Mayfield has looked the past couple games,
he never looks good against Baltimore.
What happened?
He never looks good against Baltimore.
Not even that. I just think this Baltimore team is playing for a lot more than what Cleveland's playing for right now. Like, they're in a situation where they need to start winning games, and it needs to start, like, now. You know what I mean?
I think both teams have something to play for.
Definitely have to.
Yes and no. Like, I just feel like Baltimore is, in a sense, hungrier, if that's the good word for it. Like, they're on the outside looking in right now. They're not, like, secured in the playoffs. So, that's just my whole thing with it.
So who are you picking?
I'm definitely going Baltimore.
I'm actually going Cleveland here. So I switched Cleveland's pick last week, and I got it right. And that to me was like Baker Mayfield coming out and saying, "I'm the guy." Like, he literally destroyed the Titans. And
I didn't expect that. I thought if anything, it would have been the other way around.
Yeah, that game was not what you expect. We expected like a rushing attack between Henry and Chubb. That was not it at all. And you know what? The Ravens really haven't been playing that well. I know they beat the Cowboys. Okay, they're the Cowboys. I think the Browns are hot. I think Stefanski's given the Browns like a legit coach. I like what the Browns are, and I think this is one of those games that I picked against the Browns almost every time in the division this year, besides the Bengals.
Yep.
And we've gotten it right. But the Browns are, I believe, 8-3. I think their only losses have come from the division.
I think they're 9-3. Actually.
Yeah, they're 9-3.
9-3. I think this is
like their best start in so long.
Yeah, I think this is the game where like it kind of tells you the Browns are legit. And I honestly don't think Baltimore is a legit team. I really don't. Like, I think Lamar's been very limited this year. And I know Willie Snead and Mark Andrews is back, but I don't know. I'm going to bet on the Browns. I like the Browns this week. I think this is like I don't want to say like a change in the division, because I just want to say like I think this is the respect the Browns are going to get this week. Like in their
At least
division.
we're seeing a little bit more Marquise Brown involvement.
Yeah, but you can't trust that guy week to week. He's been such a disappointment this year. Because honestly, I don't even count the Trace McSorley touchdown, because that wasn't even Lamar Jackson throwing it to him. That was his most productive game.
That was like a curl route. And
how lucky was that play? The Steelers guy literally dived out of bounds to try. I don't know what he was doing, but
that was just a blown tackle. Again, this is another game I'm flip-flopping on. So these are two great games. I'm happy they're primetime games.
There's a couple really interesting games this week. Like
yeah.
I'm
gonna go Browns. I don't know if it's recency bias or not. It could be, very well be. It's just, again, eye test. I've been picking against the Browns regardless of the eye test. They just keep winning games. Baker Mayfield came out, and there's no way if you're Browns management you think that for whatever reason, as great as Odell Beckham Jr. is, there's no chemistry with him and Baker plays significantly better without Odell. You can't turn a blind eye to it anymore. You try to get what you could get for Odell, even if it's a late round pick, get something for him. And get him out of town. Obviously, I wouldn't even trade him in the AFC. I'd trade him to the NFC. I'm going Browns, regardless of how good the Ravens defense is. And even though Lamar Jackson looked good when they played this past week, if the Browns defense played like how they played against Tennessee, which I did not expect them to play like that against the Ravens. It's not like the Ravens are working with better weapons than the Tennessee Titans, so it would be easier to stop them. All you have to do is honestly slow down J.K. Dobbins, because he's the only positive thing on this offense right now. The offensive line has been disappointing. Lamar Jackson, given week to week, I understand just came off of COVID. He looked good last week, but whether it's his fault or not, he's getting slowed down, whether it's in the running game or he has nobody to throw to. Des Bryant saying he's quitting football now because he got a false positive on a COVID test. So who knows if he's going to play or not. And even if he does,
the COVID list yesterday, so I don't know what happened with that.
Even if he plays, is it really going to make a difference? Des Bryant hasn't been good in 5 years. He's not going to be good now. Again, I'm just basing it off of what I saw.
Yeah.
I always said the Browns struggle against good teams and they dominate against Tennessee. I'm picking the Browns.
I don't know why this reminds me of this, but obviously we all picked the Ravens week 1, and the Ravens came out and blew out the Browns. I just feel like the teams like ever since then have been on a completely different journey. I think Baltimore's like just been a so-so team this year. I think they've won against easier opponents and a
Yeah.
couple division wins. And this reminds me a lot of when the Patriots played the early Jets, like with Sanchez. Like they got blown out 45-3 early on, and the Jets then beat the Patriots in Foxborough. I feel like this is the Browns type of like Foxborough game. This is going to be like the statement game. Even though this game's in Cleveland, I feel like this is going to be a statement game from the Browns once again. Tennessee last week, and I feel like they circled this game in their calendar.
Whenever any team gets blown out, especially a divisional team, they always do that. You always, count down the weeks.
I honestly think, regardless of what happens this game, I think Cleveland is a better team this year than Baltimore's been overall.
100%, and the record shows it, Ryan. And even if you don't look at the record, just
the
look at the team stats. Yeah, look at everything. The Ravens have not done anything.
This Baltimore offense is so like, like outside of like, J.K. Dobbins looks good now, and they do have, sometimes Gus Edwards, but Mark Ingram's not been involved this year, and he's been very like bad when he's been playing. And there's no passing attack at all. Like Lamar Jackson, I mean, against Dallas, you didn't need it, but he literally had like 100 yards passing. But there's no one to throw to. Miles Boykin scored, I think, his first touchdown of the year. He's been like MIA. Hollywood Brown, maybe. We'll see. 2 weeks in a row now, but
Denzel Ward's probably going to shadow him, no?
Yeah, I don't even try.
He wouldn't even have to shadow him. He would just lock down one side of the field.
He doesn't play. I'm not really scared of Hollywood Brown being the difference in this game. Hollywood Brown's not going to beat you in a playoff game or in a big game. It's going to have to be Lamar and J.K. Dobbins just running over the Browns. And I feel like the Browns did a good job on Henry, like you said, and I feel like they're going to do a good job this week.
I think different running schemes.
Baker just has to not turn the ball over like week one, and Nick Chubb really didn't get going in that week one game because of how big of a lead Baltimore got off to. So I feel like if this game stays close, it favors the Browns.
And look at Baker's history. He always does good when he's the underdog, right? You don't think he's going to remember week one what happened, or even last year? They blew out the Ravens at the beginning of the year, and then the Ravens came back. Like, they just go back and forth like that. So, again, I'll go with the split for the year. I'm going Browns. And Marco, you said Baltimore, right?
Yes, I did.
All right. So good. We agreed on some games, and we had splits on others. It was good. It's gonna be a good week for football.
It's perfect because this is like all these teams now need to like win and end situations, or they have to go on a little bit of a run. So,
yep. So I'll do it for the week.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Talk to you guys later.
Have a good one.